Hi everybody, Master Dancing Guy for Warrior Scout University, and today we're going to make Dragon Balm, which is our interpretation of Tiger Balm. So get your ingredients ready and let's get started. Okay, so to get started, you're going to need camphor oil, peppermint oil, eucalyptus oil, clove oil, and cinnamon oil. You're going to need an ounce of beeswax, which is usually beeswax comes in bars this shaped, and they're about an ounce each. But I have a little scale that I weigh it just to double check. So we got an ounce there. And some tins to put your final product in. I like screw tins because they don't open up on you accidentally. Quarter cup measuring cup. An oil, olive oil, coconut oil. There's a couple of oils you can use for this. They're listed in the recipe. A glass or porcelain cup to mix everything in once you heat the ingredients up. A double boiler. So basically this is just a pot that sits in another pot of water and gently melts the beeswax in the oil, doesn't burn it. So these are the ingredients you need. And the ratios on this is going to be 10 drops of camphor. I like to put them all in order so it's easy for me just to go right through. 10 drops of camphor oil, 9 of peppermint, 7 of eucalyptus, 7 of clove, and 5 of cinnamon. And then you experiment with that. You can always add a little bit more, but this is the beginning ratio of it. So to get started, we're going to get the pot going on the double boiler, low flame. Okay, so I've got this on a low flame. We're going to heat this pot up in here. Now you're going to want an oven mitt or something because you need to take this out and handle it, so just keep that in mind as well. It's another thing you're gonna need. And we're just gonna let this pot heat up and gently, low flame. It's sitting in a water bath, so it'll heat up without burning the ingredients slowly. Okay, so while we're doing that, we're gonna take a quarter cup of olive oil, and this helps keep the make the balm more of a creamy consistency than a hard wax consistency where you wouldn't be able to get, anything really off onto your hands. So that's the key here. Now what you want to do too sometimes is break up the wax a little bit. You can use a knife and cut it up. This way it will melt a little faster. So I'm going to do that right now. The smaller pieces of wax will melt quicker. Be careful, obviously, when you're cutting stuff. If you just score it enough, because one whole bar like that will maybe take a little while to melt. And make sure you don't get any on your fingers when you're using the oils, not the wax so much as. Okay, so we've got this cut up into pieces. Just melts a little faster that way. Okay, and let's just scrape off this extra here that we've got off the knife. Good. And okay, so we got the oil warming up, and you don't want the water boiling because then it's going to spill out. You get water in the pot. Once you get that in the pot, then you're got problems. Okay, we chopped up our beeswax into small pieces, which we're going to put in. The thinner the slices, the faster it will melt. Okay, so that's a little trick there. You don't want to wait too long for the water to, the longer the water is on the flame, the hotter it's going to get. So we want to melt the wax and then get this off the heat. Okay, and I use a metal spoon. So there's a little something I got in there that I don't like to see, so we're going to get rid of that. Okay. All right, so now we're going to put our chips of wax in, like so. This is starting to get to a rolling boil, so I'm going to cut the heat down, and it's going to start melting. Now I like I have a double boiler, couldn't find it for the video. But typically a double boiler is a pot that fits nicely in another pot. This is another way to do it if you don't have a double boiler. And basically I use these tongs to keep this still while I'm stirring the wax. So, little tip. Okay, just be careful that the water doesn't come into this. And you just stir. I got a couple pieces piggybacking on one another here, so I'm gonna break them down. And you'll start to see the oil change color. The wax will get smaller, and it'll be good to go. Okay, so these chips are getting smaller. We're almost there. Now, one thing you don't want to do is push down on the pot when it's in water, because some of the water may then overflow into the pot and ruin your balm. So we don't want that to happen. So we get in there, and this is a gentle process. I mean, you know, you don't want to go too fast here, because you want the wax to gently melt, because this is what gives it a creamy consistency. The oil gives the wax a creamy consistency, so you can apply it. So we're almost there, but you know, you might have the urge to push down on some of these wax slices to break them up. Don't do it, because you'll push the pan in, the water will flow into the pan, and then you know, that won't work. That won't be good. So we're almost there. A couple tiny little pieces to go. Okay, so while the wax is finally melting, you want to get your tins ready and your cup ready so you can immediately start putting the oils in, because the mixture is warm. It will, I like to loosen the caps to be ready and keep them in an order. So if you're following the recipe, the most drops to the least amount of drops. And the heat will tend to dissipate some of the oil. So that's why you want to move a little quickly here. Okay, so I'm going to bring the beeswax over. We give it one more mix. Looks good. Smells great. The beeswax, the melting beeswax just has a certain smell to it. All right, so now I'm going to reach in with my tongs and grab the second pot without trying to get water in it from the boiler. All right, we're in business. Okay, so now we're going to pour this into here. Okay, now it's a liquid, but it will cool into a salve balm. So we want to move kind of quickly here. Okay, so the first is the camphor. The camphor is 10 drops. So you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Next will be the peppermint, which is 9. You can smell that too. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Next is a eucalyptus. Okay, there's 7 of that. 1, 2, 3. That's about 7. Okay. Another drop or two is not going to be the end of the world. Okay, clove. Okay, we have 7 clove. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And again, you know, if you get an extra drop of this or that, it's not the end of the world with it. Just don't, like, you know, hit 30 drops in. And then 5 of the cinnamon. And my cinnamon's jacking up here. All right, so let's find out what's going on. Oh, there we go. 1, 2, 3. It's a new bottle here. Come on, cinnamon. What's going on here? I'm gonna have to take this. Oh, okay. We had a stuffed up stopper. 2, 3, 4, 5. I gotta get shakes. Man, this is the thing. Taking some shakes. 7. Half it's hitting the glass, so I'm gonna give it a couple more. Yeah. Okay, there we go. It's about 5. All right. Then you're gonna mix this up. It smells great, man. Okay. Mix it up with a spoon. Now it's starting to stick to the glass. That's why I want to use glass. You can see it's starting to turn into this. And we're going to pour this carefully into our tins. Okay. You can see it's already starting to form in the glass. This stuff cools pretty quickly. All right, now you got some extra in here, so before it cools too quick, you can spoon that off into another. I mean, why waste it, right? Before it gets too hard, and spoon it off. This is what it'll be. This is the consistency of it as you're using it. It's a little warm now because it's obviously just came off the stove. Matter of fact, getting quite a few more of these than I thought I was going to get this time around. Okay. And now you don't want to make big batches of this because, you know, it does have oil in it and it does have a shelf life depending on, you know, how much you use it, how often you use it. And that cinnamon smells great. Now remember, camphor is toxic, so you don't want to put this stuff in your mouth, as yummy as it may smell. Okay. And you want to definitely wash your hands after getting any of this on your hands. Okay. All right, so there we go. All right. And fortunately for me, I don't have any aches or pains right now, so I'm not going to have to use any of this. Just wipe my fingers down here. And you can see the difference between this is cooling and this is stuff that, you know, I scraped out of the bottom of the cup there. And it smells fantastic. You know, and listen, some medicines stink. Screw them on, put them in the refrigerator for a little while, let them cool off. And you can see 1 ounce. We didn't use a lot of ingredients here, and look at the yield that we've got. I mean, you know, it's quite a bit. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. This one could use a little bit more. Maybe I can get some from in here. Yeah. Fill this one up a little bit more. That's it. And thankfully, because of the olive oil, it gives it this manageable consistency, but it will harden shortly. And then once that does, you know, you're not going to be able to, you know, spoon it around and move it around like that. And, you know, make sure you wipe these jars down good too, because it will have the residue of the balm on it. And, you know, obviously you touch these and you touch your eye, you know, you're going to get irritation because there's camphor, there's cinnamon. These are things that will definitely, clove will definitely irritate your eye. So that is, now I have 2, 4, and we have 6 homemade Tiger Balms. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Wellness Warrior and how to make your own Dragon Tiger Balm. Careful when applying it. This is a pretty entry-level recipe to get involved with. If you want to add more heat, then, you know, you can add more of some of the ingredients that was listed in the recipe that I provided in this section. So, but start off with a little bit, wait for the heating effect, then add a little bit more if you need more, and then when you make your next batch, you'll know how to. It's kind of like mom's sauce, you know. You get used to it. You start adding a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little more, a little less, to you know, get it to where you want it. And that's the wonderful thing about herbal remedies is you get personally involved in it and you dial it in to your specific needs. So that's why I enjoy this. So in future episodes, we're going to talk about Tit Tao Jia, which is bruise medicine. It's a little bit easier to make than this. Basically, it's just, you know, go to herbalist or order the herbs online, put them in the proper proportions in alcohol, and hide it away for a few months, and then magically you've got bruise medicine. So we're going to get into that in the next episode. And then from there, we're going to talk about teas, cold brews, hot brews, and different, edibles, edible drinks that you can take, that, learning how to make tonics with ginseng and some of the other herbs. So we're going to get into that in the future episodes. So I hope you enjoyed this. And, again, don't be afraid to jump right in and try it. It doesn't take a lot of ingredients. It's fun to do. And listen, if you can cook, it's a recipe. So if you can cook a basic meal, this is a piece of cake. So I hope you enjoy that. Remember, do not use these things internally unless specifically told it's a tea or a tonic or something like that, because some of the ingredients could be toxic to you. Also, keep in mind you might have an allergic reaction to some things that you might not realize. I didn't find out my daughter was allergic to passion fruit until her Chinese teacher gave her a cookie with passion fruit. Next thing I know, I'm in the hospital. She's because she's going into anaphylactic shock. So, when you're getting involved in something like this, be smart, step by step, test the ingredients out. These are pretty mild, but again, you never know. Peanut allergies and things like that. Some people are severely allergic to certain things. So, know what your allergies are before you start dabbling into, applying things to you. Put a little bit on your skin, see how it feels, and then, if it feels safe, then you can go from there. As always, when in doubt, check with a medical professional. But I hope you enjoy this, and I will see you in the next episode.